Okay, so what we're going to do now is go through the process of writing a risk assessment. Just follow the graphics while I talk you through it. In starting our risk assessment, we need a template form on which to write it, such as this one. Enter the headings like this. Hazards. Risks to our health and safety are caused by hazards. If you have no hazards, then you have no risks, but that seldom happens. So then, when starting the risk assessment, we first write down all of the hazards. Now I'm assuming that you know a great deal about the activity that you're assessing. That is, you are competent to do this. That's important. So here we build up a list of generic hazards that cause slips and trips. That's enough hazards for this exercise, but you may think of others when you do your assessment. The object of doing a risk assessment for any activity is to reduce the risks to the health and safety of everyone affected by that activity. This includes the people doing the work, people passing by or in the immediate vicinity, or any others affected by it in some way. So we list all of the types of people who may be affected by these hazards. We'll keep it simple and say employees and visitors will be affected by most of these, but we'll say only employees are affected by poor lighting, like so. How might these people be harmed? Let's have a look. Now, many of these may be similar right the way through. The initial risk rating is your assessment of the risks if the activity has no controls whatsoever. No tidiness, spillage is not cleaned up, no training. The risks to health and safety here are all probably the same. But remember, for the elderly, for instance, the risks might be high. Now the control measures. These are the things that you think can reasonably be done to reduce the risks. After the control measures have been put in place, we can expect the risks to have been reduced. So now we list our assessment of those residual risks, like so. Hopefully they will all become low. You will see on our generic risk assessment sections for you to add your own site-specific items. We think that it is important for you to consider the hazards specific to your own work location and add these. Back to our risk assessment form. Here is an overall risk matrix. The severity of the risk is shown increasing by rising vertically. The likelihood of it occurring is shown increasing from left to right. Put an X in the box as your assessment of the overall risk before the control measures were applied. Then put an X in a box to show your assessment of the risk after you've applied the control measures. That's really your risk assessment completed. To improve upon this document, you can help your employees in risk control by giving them much more detail about the control measures. The item numbers correspond to those on the first page. Remember to identify the people responsible. That's it. All done. Just a few important things to do. The law requires that you show the conclusions of your risk assessment to the persons affected by it. So, get them to sign and date the form to confirm that they have seen and understood it. Believe me, that's important. Then, file the signed risk assessment, but make a copy available to anyone who needs it. Then, to dot the I's and cross the T's, monitor the activity and record your monitoring. It may be that you'll need to amend your risk assessment to get it absolutely right. And that's it. It's not rocket science. You can do this. But if you need help, perhaps you have a complex activity that needs an experienced risk assessor. If so, please call us on the number given on the website. We'll be glad to help.